Village Market? No. I was going to mention that the expansion had been withdrawn. Okay. Or do you want to say? Good morning. I'll call to order the regular meeting of the Zoning and Planning Committee. Today is July 10th, 2014. I'm Lisa Bender. I chair the committee, and I'm joined by a quorum of our committee, Council Members Goodman, Johnson, and Warsami, and I expect Councilmember Reich to join us. All of our items are on consent today, and we have 7 items. The first is the donation collection bins ordinance. It's a subject matter introduction to allow for donation collection bins to be operated by for-profit entities as an accessory use. The second item is Village Market at 912 East 24th Street and several other addresses. This was a petition filed to allow for rezoning and vacation applications to allow for the expansion of existing surface parking lot, and it includes a rezoning to add a TP transitional parking overlay district, as well as vacating part of an alley. And I just wanted to note on this item, this originally did include an expansion of the building, and that has been withdrawn by the applicant. Or it has been, I should actually say, it was not approved by the Planning Commission, and the applicant has not appealed that decision. So this no longer includes the building expansion. Number 3 is the Friendship Store at 317 38th Street East. This is the Seward Co-op site, and it's for an alley vacation and 2 rezonings to allow for a new 2-story, 35-foot tall grocery store. And this is to approve an alley vacation, as well as to petition to change the zoning classification from R1A to C1, and to petition to change the zoning classification of the several other properties to add TP transitional parking overlay district while retaining the underlying R1A district. Item number 4 is DC Group expansion at 1977 West River Road. It's an application to vacate part of Lot 20, Block 37, in order to allow for the construction of an office and warehouse addition to the property located there, to allow for construction of an office and warehouse addition. Items number 5 through 7 are staff referrals. Item number 5 is regarding the 1 to 4 residential developments. It's to refer to staff subject matter to amend Title 20 of the Code of Ordinances of the Zoning Code to amend regulations for 1 to 4 residential unit development. And this comes out of Councilmember Palmisano's work to look at 1 to 4 building zoning regulations. Item number 6 is referring to staff work related to accessory dwelling units to allow accessory dwelling units. And then number 7 is the Heritage Preservation Commission regulations, subject matter of an ordinance amending Title 23, Chapter 599 of the Code of Ordinances, amending definitions, and this is the Conservation District Ordinance, I believe. Is that correct, Jason?
Chair Bender, this one actually, I believe, deals with some minor changes related to the 1 to 4 amendments.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. All right. Is there any comments or question? Councilmember Goodman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I've had the opportunity to bring forward the minimal information that's been out there with regard to the accessory dwelling units to 4 neighborhoods in my ward, and people are really concerned about the public hearing schedule that's going on. So I'll note that there's 2 public meetings, both in August in the middle of summer, one on a Saturday when a lot of people are not around. Neither are in parts of South or Southwest or Minneapolis where there is a lot of R1 zoning. And I'm going to ask that at a minimum there be at least 1, if not more, public meetings in the southwest section of the city that is not on a Saturday morning in sometime in September after Labor Day. I feel like there's not a lot of information for me to talk about at these neighborhood meetings, so I have to just speculate as to what could happen, and that of course raises even more concern when you speculate about what could happen, and there isn't any information about would this affect R1s. I assume it's only going to affect R1 since you can have an accessory dwelling unit in an R2 and higher. And I think there are going to be a lot of people who have concerns and comments, and this looks like it's just kind of being steamrolled through without significant input by neighbors. So I'm going to ask staff, the situation with item number 5, we've already had an entire debate about moratoriums and demolitions, and it's something we've discussed for 2 years. So it makes sense that some changes would be moving forward. With item number 6, it makes no sense to me that we would be having meetings, none of which in Southwest Minneapolis, and all in the middle of summer and one on a Saturday. So I would ask at a minimum there be one or more public meetings at the end of September where it can be noticed at neighborhood meetings, and that specifically one be in Southwest Minneapolis. I also note that item number 5 is already scheduled for a hearing in front of the Planning Commission. So people have one opportunity in item number 5 to come to a meeting one time in August prior to the time that it goes to the Planning Commission. Now, I can maybe understand we've been discussing that longer. I'm wondering from either the chair or staff, is there a Planning Commission discussion scheduled for item number 6?
Chair Bender, Councilmember Goodman, at this point, there is no Planning Commission discussion scheduled for item number 6. Item number 5, we are in the midst of public engagement, including an industry meeting today and a public meeting next week in advance of the Planning Commission.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wittenberg, Madam Chair. So as I said, I can see item 5 is a little bit further along, given that we've been discussing it for 6 months. Item number 6, we have not discussed at all. And it looks like it's moving fast to people in neighborhoods, and then they have to be told about it by me, and then that raises even higher alarm. So I just want to give staff that direction to make sure that there are at least 2 more public meetings, one in Southwest Minneapolis, preferably in my ward.
Thank you, Councilmember Goodman. I can address some of your concerns about the public engagement regarding accessory dwelling units. So we're just at the very beginning of the process of determining what any recommendations might look like. I hear your concerns about the summer timing. The Saturday meeting was to accommodate people who work during the week, especially weeknights. We often have meetings only on weeknights. So we added a Saturday meeting for those people who are not able to attend evening meetings in order to increase the amount of engagement that we were able to have for this important issue. Staff will be meeting with each council member's office here in the next few weeks to hear your preliminary ideas and concerns about accessory dwelling units. So those meetings should be scheduled soon. We are also preparing some information that you can forward to your neighborhood associations about the public engagement opportunities, and I know staff is always willing to answer questions directly to neighborhood organizations. We've actually been approached by a number of neighborhood organizations, staff had been, who are interested in accessory dwelling units, so that was part of the impetus for starting this process. So I'm happy to talk more offline about ways we could accommodate more public engagement. We're also doing a focus group with some of the people who've contacted the city over the years interested in accessory dwelling units. We do have accessory dwelling units legal as a pilot in some neighborhoods. Only one has been built in the time. So this isn't a totally new conversation for the city. But I totally appreciate your comments, and we do want to make sure that people have plenty of opportunity to comment and get engaged. So are there any other comments or questions about any of the items on the consent agenda? Council President.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just curious on number 5 then. Is there a little synopsis from staff that they could tell me what we're looking at in that number 5 potentially?
Absolutely, Chair Bender, Council President Johnson. Essentially, we are looking at updates to the previous 2 infill amendments that had been adopted back in 2005 when we adopted site plan review standards following a moratorium on the north side, and the infill standards that then Councilmember Hodges adopted in 2007, looking at things like height, floor area, issues that really affect bulk of projects, revisiting whether we have our maximum lot coverage and impervious surface standards where we want them to be, and we'd be absolutely happy to sit down with you in the next week to catch you up to speed on everything we're doing.
Madam Chair, that would be great. I think one of the things that I've in the discussion, particularly about the Southwest, and in some of the cases where infill has been built in my ward, I just think sometimes that perhaps the side yard requirement isn't enough. When you have a sidewalk and that, it seems to me that that's where we see a lot of issues about drainage and construction impacting somebody else's sidewalk, all that sort of thing. So that's kind of one of my interests, I guess.
And that
I would say.
absolutely is an issue we're
Okay,
addressing.
Okay, good. I'd love to sit down with staff. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wittenberg, maybe you could just also clarify, not for my colleagues, but for anyone who may be watching or listening, that this staff referral is part of our process of introducing a new item to the CPED work program. So we do give notice of intent to introduce at a council meeting, and then it's subject matter introduction has happened, and then this is the committee meeting where we're referring to staff for the first time to work on these issues. So there is a long road ahead for these policy decisions that will include public outreach, that will include meetings with council staff and council members to get feedback as the policies are crafted. Is that correct? That's
absolutely correct. I mean, these have to appear on this agenda per your council rules immediately following the subject matter introduction. So that amendments can be at various stages of the game when these items appear on this agenda. As we've talked about, item number 5 is much farther along based on conversations that we started early in the spring. Item number 6 is just getting ramped up.
Councilmember Goodman.
But this is not step 1. Let's be honest. And item number 5, it's drafted. There's a meeting with the industry representatives, and it's scheduled in front of the Planning Commission. So this isn't the first place people are hearing about it. That is true kind of with item number 6, but 2 public meetings have already been scheduled. So it's not like today we're saying, okay, staff, work on it, and now you're going to go ahead and schedule some meetings. Meetings have been scheduled. I've been out to 4 neighborhoods, and people have already complained about the timing of the meetings, that they're in the middle of summer. And I'll be very interested to see how many people attend. I hope it's heavily attended on Saturday morning. That would be great, and I have no objection to it. But one of the meetings is in North Minneapolis, where there's 1,000 vacant lots and a whole bunch of boarded and vacant buildings. I don't think people are clamoring to add carriage houses onto homes in locations where we can't even build on lots, and that's where one of the meetings is. So things have happened, and this is not the first step because staff is already working on it.
Absolutely. I just wanted to clarify why it was on the consent agenda in particular as a procedural matter, that it's staff referral after subject matter introduction. But I absolutely hear your concerns. Okay. Councilmember Reich.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I suppose at this point it'd be good to get clarification from staff, their intent on the spread of the meetings. I mean, we have 6 designated planning districts. Why wouldn't we have meetings in those designated planning districts to get the geographic spread and input? You know, to ignore the whole east side is to ignore, I don't know, a quarter of the land mass of the city. So just, I think, moving forward, if there could be clarification on that, that desire to have geographic spread of our citizen input.
Councilmember Reich, are you referring to all of the items?
No, just the newest ones regarding
The 1 to 4 and the accessory dwelling units.
Correct,
And
correct.
so items 5, 6, and 7.
Correct.
Okay.
I mean, there are a lot of people in my neck of the woods. We don't leave our zip code if we don't have to.
Okay, got it. All right, thank you. Okay, any other comments or questions? Okay, seeing none, I will move approval of the consent agenda, including staff referral for items 5, 6, and 7. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. And thank you. With that, we are adjourned.